But why should any concessions be shown to the separatists the moment you show that you are further willing to weaken the constitutional and political relationship of the state and India? You fall into the trap of Pakistan and its representatives like Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, who want this relationship to be weakened. Some say call it self-rule. Some say call it autonomy. Some say call it azadi. These are all different formats of weakening the political and social and the constitutional relationship of India and Kashmir. We are not for weakening this relationship, where we say, please understand from the historical blunders which Panditji committed, and unless you accept them, or at least intellectually make a note of them, you will never set a roadmap for correction of the future. The difference in approach is precisely the difference between Sardar Patel's approach in the rest of the country and Panditji's approach in Kashmir. And unless we allow history to make this realistic judgment, we'll never be able to resolve the problem. Today, what is the solution? First phase was conventional war. Kashmir is a part of the unfinished agenda of Pakistan since partition. So we fought 4 conventional wars. Pakistan failed. They started cross-border insurgency. In cross-border insurgency, suddenly Pakistan has realized that the global appetite for accepting terror has now diminished. The world will no longer allow you to enjoy the fruits of terrorism. So in the garb of peaceful protest, this is the 3rd round, you organize groups of 5,000 and 4,000 people, pick up a police picket of 5 people, and 5,000 people throw stones on them. And said only poor stone throwers. And if police retaliates or fires in return, they said atrocities are being committed. And nobody is willing to mention that 3,000 policemen are in hospital, some of them have died. So if we have no tribute to pay to them, so this great song that the young lady was singing, which still moves us from 1962 till today, these are the soldiers who are giving their life for the country, and today we are not able to appreciate as to what is the solution we have to find to this problem. I have not the least doubt that the Bharatiya Janata Party and before that the Bharatiya Jansangh, originally under the leadership of Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee, was a party which spoke of total integration of the state. And one day history in India will have to make a judgment. It will be a cruel, a harsh judgment, but a realistic judgment that Dr. Mukherjee's vision on Kashmir was right, Panditji's vision was erroneous. And till today, 63 years after independence, we continue to pay a price for that. The same issue will apply to the Maoists. Now, I don't want to make little of it by commenting on some recent statement someone has given on Mao. See, ignorance, they say, is bliss. But look at the seriousness of the Maoist problem in this country. Maoism is not a poverty eradication program. It's a program which is intended, a movement which is intended to engineer a violent overthrow of India's political system and a violent overthrow of elected governments. Maoism represents a negation of parliamentary democracy. Maoists want to use violence, use weapons. Power, they say, flows out of the barrel of a gun. How do you get the gun? You kill policemen, you loot their armories, and the old Maoist slogan is now being repeated. Police is the enemy's armory is our armory. I think Andhra has substantially overcome this problem. But Andhra has given a lot of intellectual ammunition and manpower, which is now settled down in other states, which is leading this movement. And during elections, you find ruling parties, political parties hobnobbing with them. And therefore, unless you have an approach that you will not accept this as an ideology, you will fight it on the strength of security measures, you will work extra time with extra resources for the social economic upliftment of those regions, and you will fight the ideological propaganda of these people. You cannot fight them with kid gloves. Look at the audacity. It's not only the Maoists, the Kashmiri separatists, the Maoists, the Mizo separatists, one or two leftovers of the Khalistan movement. They all get together first in Delhi, then in Chandigarh, today I am told in Calcutta. And the object is we will go in broad daylight and argue for the breakup of India. The speeches are given that the idea of India is wrong. India was and can never be a single nation. India must break up. And the government of India says, I've got bangles on my wrist. I don't want to take action against them even if law is violated. Anyone from the opposition parties make such a speech, will the government of India spare it? Look at the kind of double standards you are having against some of our colleagues whom you are intended going ahead and persecuting without evidence. And the object of some of these activists is you become symbols of rebels against India. And becoming symbols of rebels against India itself is a lucrative proposition. You will be invited on the international seminar circuit. Some of the NGOs derive other benefits. In fact, some of them have now become, when I see the different kinds of separatist groups getting together, I get an impression that these are all forums being provided for people to rent a cause. They are on the lookout for a separatist cause and they are willing to give it a platform. And the tragedy of India is there are friends in the electronic media also who have a little extra space in the name of a contrarian viewpoint for this separatist viewpoint. And because they are played up on electronic media, their ability to attract international attention also increases. But we are a free country, we have to pay a price as far as our freedom is concerned. Friends, I have referred to some of these challenging issues. Politics is not a secret operation. What is the road ahead? I think the road ahead is two. There are two roads ahead. There are some issues on which there can be no compromise. We can live with thousands of differences, but on the sovereignty of India, there can be no compromise. The idea of India, there can be no compromise. Equality in India, irrespective of our caste or religion, there can be no compromise. Our constitutionalism, there can be no compromise. While these are all basic values, a developmental welfare agenda in favor of the people, now state after state has shown that it works, can be our national goal. And I think to fight these separatist ideas, to fight these separatist forces, there are some of our friends, vote bank politics compels them to silence. But the BJP has never had any compulsions and we continue to be vocal as far as we can. whether it is the separatists in any part of the country or it's the Maoist extremist insurgents, will be vocal. Secondly, friends, there's a huge need today, as I said, to improve the quality of politics in India. India is the world's largest democracy. It houses 1/6 of the world's population. A country which houses 1/6 of the world's population can't be like a banana republic or some feudal mindset nation. It's only experience-tested leadership, any political party. It can't be a training ground because of a feudal mindset of some, for some families to dominate Indian politics. This trend in the last few decades has picked up. It is not good for the health of the country. It is not good for the democracy of India. And I, for one, maintain a country of India's potential and size needs leadership of huge merit and talent, and there is a fundamental conflict between meritocracy and dynasty. Dynasty is a negation of merit. It's a concept which stems from a feudal concept that only some carrying this particular blood are ones who are entitled to rule. Democracy negates that. And when we adopted that idea of democracy, we negated that. Let us therefore not become a dynastic democracy. In terms of political strategy, one thing is very clear. It's only the NDA which is the alternative to the UPA today. The UPA has been a national disappointment as far as the mandate is concerned. For us in the BJP, as the nucleus of the NDA, it's a challenge to expand the NDA. There are states after states which are crying to be a part of that national alternative. Look at the manner in which Andhra's politics is fragmenting. There is today a crying need for Telangana. The sentiment of the region has been more than adequately expressed, and a paralyzed government is unable to take a decision on the matter. Today you have a state where politics of Andhra is getting more fragmenting than ever before. And therefore, if we are honest to the people of Andhra Pradesh, or many other states, we have to come back to that politics where we have to start organizing alternatives. We cannot allow the kind of governance which is setting Andhra to drift. Andhra has been one of the fastest growing states in the country. It has a better infrastructure than most states. But I'm told now projects are slowing down. It cannot afford to lose the race. And therefore, every political party here, particularly the non-Congress political parties, have to rise to the occasion. Yes, when I say that the alternative to the UPA is the NDA, there are prospects, I am aware, of the third front also. But the nucleus of the third front faces a very serious threat in the next 6 months, both in West Bengal and in Kerala. Probably the third front will have no nucleus after April, May to organize it. And therefore, the possibility of bipolar politics emerging after that should logically increase, provided political parties rise to the occasion and understand their national responsibility, notwithstanding ideological differences that we have. The Janata Dal United and the BJP also have many issues where we don't agree with each other. But we ran a very well structured government. If we agreed on everything, we'll be one party, we won't be two parties. Across the country, non-Congress parties have to accept this as a challenge. And we have a reasonable time ahead of us to save India from one of the most corrupt governments this country has ever seen. A government which has lost its direction, which has set the nation to drift. And I think those who do not accept this responsibility and can't see the challenge which is emerging will have a lot to answer as far as history is concerned. Well, thank you very much.